So our challenge is to hopefully improve the property condition of tenements in the city. Now, tenements are, it's a nationwide problem for Scotland. There are 580,000 tenements around Scotland. And a tenement is a building where there is more than one property, two or more properties divided horizontally in separate ownership. So if you have a property above or below you, it could be a commercial property or another flat, then you live in a tenement. And the property condition we're trying to improve is the common elements of that building. And common elements would be the roof, the stair, the external walls, front and back doors, or any structural element. So it's the parts of the building where owners have a joint responsibility to look after.
I think in my eyes, in terms of what this problem is, that the problem we're trying to solve could be quite a few different key areas. It could be about identifying who those owners are in the first place, because that is the first difficult entry point that people find if they're taking forward this work themselves. And even as a local authority, we still need to make those checks too. It could be about creating some kind of mechanism that lets people talk to each other to agree what those repairs are. It could be something to do with the property condition, so we can understand that property condition better, so we know which repairs need to be carried out. It could be something around how the owners can finance this work and how we can support them to do that. Or it may be after the event, and it may be something about the ongoing maintenance and factoring once work has carried out, and it keeps that a framework going where the legacy is kept intact.
So the current system is provided by the Tenement Scotland Act 2004. Unfortunately, there is nothing that compels owners to do these repairs. This legislation only provides a process by which owners can follow. And it can be difficult and frustrating and confusing for owners. Our service will provide advice and guidance for that process, and the owners come to us for that. But it needs a lead owner. It needs somebody that will take forward the works. Without a lead owner, a tenement could be left neglected, and the common repairs just left to deteriorate.
Edinburgh, as a local authority, still owns its own housing stock. Some local authorities have sold theirs off to housing associations. Other local authorities still retain their own housing stock, but they have tenements too. But even housing associations own flats within blocks where they are not the majority or don't have sole ownership. So it is something that's replicable.
In order for communal repairs to be done, you need to have someone take the lead. So we refer to them as a lead owner. And it's usually the person that the repairs are affecting the most. So perhaps a top floor flat, or someone who is really their life is being affected by it. Their lifestyle has changed because of the repair that's required, and that person will usually take the lead in organising the repairs. However, sometimes we do have people who are not able to take the lead, or we can't even find a lead owner. So sometimes there isn't anyone that comes forward. For example, there may be a falling masonry has been reported by a member of public passing by, which is obviously very dangerous if a big piece of stone falls off the building. And we'll write to people and we'll say, we need you to come together to facilitate this repair to your building. And often there will be no one that comes forward. We don't have a lead owner. So it would be good to find a solution to that. How do we find a lead owner?
And owners have exhausted all means of trying to engage with each other, trying to arrange works, and it just fails, and the council then take on that role of enforcement using legislation. And we don't really want to be in that place. We want the owners to do it themselves. I think there's maybe a lack of knowledge and understanding about what ownership of a flat means, and when somebody buys a property, they maybe don't understand or realise that they actually are responsible for the whole part of the whole building, including the roof, the walls, the doors. So if there was an element of an emergency situation happened within a tenement that affected the public, then actually the tenement owners are responsible for that. So it's giving people that knowledge, making them aware of the legislation, and giving them a way to try and progress. It's a public safety consideration for the council, and also, of course, if tenements are not getting repaired and lead owners just can't engage or can't get these repairs done, then we'll end up enforcing the works. So that results in a reputational financial risk to the council. If you're a tourist or you live in the city, you want the buildings to be well maintained, you want it to be safe when you walk down the street, you don't want to worry about any emergency caused by a building defect. And so if we can encourage people to solve these problems themselves, then we're going to make the well-being and the life of an Edinburgh citizen far better. The number of cases that our service has taken on so far are around 220 cases. We have managed to assist owners in 70% of those cases, where we call it successful intervention, where we've managed to get the owners to get the works done themselves. There is 15% of cases where we have to enforce the works because there's just no way for these owners to get the works done themselves. If there was some way that there could be a solution that provided easier communication between owners, easier access to information, access to things that are going to help them work together and solve their problems, then that would be ideal.